Okay, Tribesters, this is a from DeepSeek Artificial Intelligence AI. These are some of my searches that I've done regarding popular sire syndrome and the current conundrum in the breed, the Eastern European lines that are just saturated with popular sires. And what I asked DeepSeek was, can you tell me about the severity of popular sire syndrome in a gene pool like the Doberman Pinscher with a population of dogs coming out of Europe that are now carrying in their pedigrees 2 and 3 and 4 times a single popular sire that is known to have died himself of DCM, and his entire litter died. And what is the severity and prognosis that you give, the severity of the possible affected offspring, and the outcome for the offspring to be able to live beyond the age of the sire. So what AI says and DeepSeek says is that the severity of popular sire syndrome in this case is what you have described is not just popular sire syndrome, it's a worst case scenario of it. The severity is extreme for several reasons. Number one, concentration of a lethal gene. The fact that the popular sire's entire litter died of sudden death, almost certainly DCM, it was DCM, is a massive red flag. It strongly indicates that this sire is homozygous, has 2 copies for the genetic mutation, which it has more than that because there's about 80 genes involved in the DCM expression. For the genetic mutations or combinations of mutations that cause early onset, highly penetrant and fatal DCM. He's not just a carrier, he is actively passing on a guaranteed death sentence to a significant portion of his offspring. Extreme inbreeding, line breeding, the terms double, triple, quadruple line bred mean the same desirable ancestors appear many times in the pedigree. This is a deliberate strategy to set traits. However, it also dramatically increases the chance of harm, extremely sets the chance of, that harmful recessive genes carried by those ancestors will also be expressed. When you combine a popular sire with known lethal genes with intensive line breeding back to the same sire's bloodline, you are mathematically guaranteeing that those bad genes will combine in the puppies. Geographic spread. The fact that this sire is being used extensively in Europe means his flawed genetics are being injected into a huge population that will increase the frequency of DCM-causing genes in the European gene pool for generations to come. Doberman's gene pool for generations to come, affecting dogs far beyond his immediate offspring, and it increases the chance of a genetic bottleneck in the breed, okay, in just Europe. There's going to be a new bottleneck in the next decade of dogs in Europe that are now dying much sooner than the rest of the population. In summary, this isn't just using a popular dog, it's the widespread, intensive propagation of a known genetic disaster, which is why I'm so concerned. This is the heartbreaking part. The chances are very low to zero for a significant percentage of puppies from these breedings to live beyond the age of the sire, which was 5. All right, here's why. The nature of DCM in Dobermans is a complex disease, but it often follows a pattern. There are genes associated with early onset and aggressive forms of the disease and others that may lead to later onset. The sire's litter dying suddenly points to the most severe form. Genetic probability. Let's assume the worst case scenario and most likely case scenario. Based on the litter's fate, the popular sire is homozygous for a highly penetrant DCM mutation. Let's call the disease allele D and the normal allele N. His genotype is DD. If he is bred to a clear female and 100% of the puppies will be throwing DCM also in their sudden death DCM in their puppies. They may not show symptoms early on, but they are at a very high risk. If bred to another female that carries his lines, so if we've got double line bred sire and a double line bred dam, then you are showing that 50% of the offspring will die at that age or sooner. If it's quadruple line bred, 100% chance that all of the puppies will be affected and all will die young. All. So those of you that are double line breeding on Sidor and Fedor Del Nasi, the science is in 100%. 100% of your puppies. If you've got Sidor on both sides of the pedigree, 100% of your puppies will die by 7. And every single solitary pedigree coming out of Eastern Europe right now has at least Sidor on one side of the pedigree. So that means the dams and the sires of both of the dogs coming out of Eastern Europe, 100% of them are going to die before 7. All right. DCM is not caused by a single gene. It is a complex interplay of multiple genes, polygenic. But this intense line breedings mean that all the other genetic modifiers that make DCM worse in this specific bloodline are also being concentrated. So even if a puppy is only got Sidor in there once, you still have the genes in the dog concentrated. The age factor, we don't know how old the sire was when he died. Yes, we do. He was 5. But let's assume that it was young, 4 to 6 years old, which is common for Doberman DCM. For a puppy with his breeding to live beyond that age, it must be lucky enough to have not inherited any of the fatal mutations and not have any negative modifiers. And according to these breeding practices, that's not possible. And so the realistic assessment in this specific highly line-bred litters from this sire, you can expect a significant portion, 50% or more, are due to die of sudden cardiac death or DCM death before the age of the sire, which he died at 5. Another large portion to be diagnosed with DCM around the same age or even later, and a very small number might live longer, but they would still be carrying all those deleterious diseases and probably only live to 7 or 8 years of age. Conclusion and strong recommendations. You are describing a genetic crisis within the breed. For a breeder, using this sire or any closely line-bred offspring from him is ethically indefensible. It knowingly produces sick and doomed dogs. These dogs should be doing cardiac screenings, 24-hour Holter monitors starting at 1 year of age, genetic testing, DCM testing, echocardiograms starting at 1 year of age. So if you are looking to buy a puppy and you are looking at pedigrees out of 100% European lines, listen to Deep Seek's strong admonition here. Run. Stay away. Popular sire syndrome coming out of Europe right now is the worst it's ever been. And every single one of these dogs that's double line bred on Sidor has a 50% chance of all of the offspring dying by 5. And if it's 4 times on there, it's 100% of the offspring will die between 2 and 5 years of age. So all of you that have those pedigrees, be advised. You are indefensibly breeding a dog that is lethal and toxic and destroying the Doberman breed. So